If you've ever wondered what it's like to adjust to life from the States and to life in Chiang Mai, keep watching this video. In this video, I'm going to talk about some of the adjustments that are important to keep in mind when you're getting settled and adjusting to your new life in Chiang Mai. And the first thing that I'll say is that your first holiday or maybe even birthday away from home might be a little difficult. I know for me in the beginning, it felt super lonely. You see all the pictures and videos of your family back home, eating meals together, or, for Christmas, that was a holiday that was really important to my family, and seeing them open presents together, it felt really isolating, and I felt like I was missing out on time with my family and time with my close friends. And in the beginning, when you're getting adjusted to life in Chiang Mai, you're super excited, you're finding your condo, you're meeting new people, you're just acclimating to life here. And I didn't have a sense of community then, and so it felt really lonely in the beginning. I think over time, since I've been here for so long, I've been able to build a community, and so now during those holidays or special times of the year and birthdays and stuff, I spend that with the community I have here. But it definitely can take some time, and was something that I didn't realize was going to be impact me in the way that it did in the very beginning when I first moved to Chiang Mai. Going off the topic of community, I think making friends in the beginning can be a little difficult as well. That's not to say it's impossible or that you're not going to meet people, but I think for me, unless you're working at a school, for example, as a teacher, or you're working in a Thai company here and working in person, I think it can be super easy to meet people and make friends and start having a community that way. But if you're working remotely, it can be a little isolating in the beginning. Not to say it's like that forever, but I think if it wasn't for me going out into, dance communities here, I like to dance bachata, or, there's rock climbing communities, there's game nights that happen here, there's live music communities, jazz communities. So there's a lot of opportunities for you to meet people, but I think if you don't make an effort to put yourself out there and do that, I think it can be a little isolating in the beginning. But like I said, it's not impossible. There's tons of digital nomads and other expats that are living out here as well. But I think just giving yourself the space in the beginning to just be a little patient, and really make an effort to go out into these different communities to meet people and build your relationships that way. The other area that really took me some time to get used to was the pace of life in Chiang Mai. If you're from the States, we have this very hustle, go, go, go culture. Everyone's honking in traffic, everyone's in a rush to get to work, everyone's just on the go constantly. And in Chiang Mai, it's so different. I mean, there's, people still rush, and, it depends where you are, but I think for me, the pace of life here is super, super slow and more chill. Even things like honking in the car, like when cars are driving, that's not something that's super common here. I mean, people still do it, but in the States, as soon as the light turns green, and if you don't press the gas pedal in that second, people are automatically honking at you, versus here, it's not as common. And I think just in general, there's, you feel less rush and pressure to, be in a rush. And I think even for me, like, I found myself driving my motorbike and I'm like in a rush, speeding around traffic for no reason. And I realized that after some time, I'm like, why am I rushing? Like, I have all day. But I think we're just so accustomed to that type of culture and that type of lifestyle in the States that when you come to Chiang Mai, you have to realize that the pace of life here is much slower. And it takes some time to get used to. And even now, my work days are a lot slower. I start a little later in the day versus back in the States, I start, 8, 9 a.m. It's funny too, because in Thailand, there's this saying, it's sabai sabai, which means like chill, chill, like everything's fine, it's relaxed. And, people even call it Thai time, if you say, you have to be somewhere at 9:30, that really means like 10, like, no, it's not to say that people aren't punctual here. Like, of course they are, but I think there's just less of a pressure to, be rushing and be in this very fast pace of life. And I think that really helped me a lot. Not only recover from burnout, but just like find a work-life balance that worked for me. And I think being in Chiang Mai has really given me the space to do that and has really helped me in a lot of ways. And then the other thing I think that not everyone talks about is if you're working remotely and you have clients in different time zones, that's going to be a huge adjustment when you get to Chiang Mai. I have clients that are in the States and in the UK, and so I have to adjust my work schedule to accommodate that. I don't work completely US hours or completely UK hours, but I overlap some hours. So Before, you know, back when I was living in the States, I was working just normal, you know, working day hours. But now I overlap, you know, I start my workday maybe around 12, and then I work a few hours, and then at night I overlap with my US clients. And so, you know, sometimes that's from 12 a.m. until 2 or 3 a.m., depending on what projects are going on, and sometimes it's even later or earlier. So I think that was a huge adjustment for me because I was so used to, you know, the very typical 9 to 5 schedule in the States, and being here and having to adjust to my clients' time zones and then where I'm living, and making that adjustment, I think, took some time. This was really difficult for me in the beginning because sleep is super important to me. I still, you know, try and get at least 7 to 8 hours a night, but you know, you have to adjust your sleep schedule if you have clients that are in different time zones, and that's just part of the lifestyle of living in Southeast Asia. And it's not to say that it's easy. It took me some time. I used to be an early bird person, and now I've had to adjust my lifestyle, and it took some time. And I think if you're just mindful of this before you come here, and you mentally prepare yourself and know that it's something that you're gonna have to adjust to before you get to Chiang Mai, I think that will help you make the adjustments a lot easier. But honestly, you just have to figure out what works best for you. This isn't gonna work for everyone, you know, sometimes it really affects your day-to-day life. And so just figuring out what works for you and what doesn't, and figuring it out as you go. So that's all I had for this video. I know sometimes we see the highlight reel of like, okay, just quit your job and move abroad and, you know, start your life all over. And it's not actually that simple. There's so many adjustments and things that need to happen even before you get to Chiang Mai, and just making sure you have everything in order, you know what to expect and what to prepare. So I hope this was helpful for anyone who's watching. And if you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so that you don't miss out on future videos. And I'll see you next time.